Hello, good evening. Welcome to another episode of Xah Talk Show. We are going to code JavaScript. Okay, we're gonna have fun code JavaScript. We're gonna so JavaScript, we're gonna write a command that test equality of array or object. In JavaScript, it's a very lousy language. You cannot compare array by array content or object. So we're gonna write that. In fact, it's already written, but we're gonna do some. We're gonna write. So what we're gonna write? So the command is already here. Okay, test equality of array and object by content. Okay, so the array or object can be nested. So that's what we and so here's the code, and this is written begin in 2022. I think it's earlier than that. But anyway, so what we're gonna write is actually we're gonna write a benchmark of using alternative method of JSON to stringify. Okay, so we can turn an array to JSON string and compare the resulting string. That's one of the way to test if arrays are equal or object. But however, there's lots of problems. We're gonna talk about that because when you use when you turn them into JSON, you got lots of issues. For example, object key order, that's an issue, and also when you use array, you got issues like undefined and null values or sparse array. They all cause problems. Okay, so that's what we're gonna explore. If you are watching this offline, play at speed 2. If you are here, say hi, okay? So let's start code, okay? So let me just, I need to do this for myself. Continue from yes, so today's talk show, can you see it? Yes. Okay, so let me start to do it, okay? Let's remove that showing browser. So that's what we're gonna talk about. And that's my keyboard, if you are wondering. So that's my ultimate hacking keyboard, the keyboard you see here. And go here, go here, go here, go here, Scene 2. So the ultimate hacking keyboard, UHK80, Nulia trackball, and Logitech trackball. And let me mention again, this is fantastic device. This is called Svalboard, SVALBOARD, SVAL, Svalboard, okay? Magnetic switch. I haven't used it yet, so I owe the guy. So fantastic. You can check out YouTube. I had a kind of review a year or two ago, and lots of other people has done it. They have reviews. Okay. Okay, now let me just go back to start to code. Okay, so demo object. So let's show the code. Okay, if you are here, say hi, hello, Adrian, hello, Isaac Fiedler. So we're gonna demonstrate the code showing browser. My God, the font is huge. One thing you learned when you do live stream is that you need to make your font on your screen like twice as large, and then because of for those watching the YouTube, that will be much easier. But for myself, the font becomes so huge. It's hard to get used to, because then you can only see a tiny part of your screen. So anyway, so that's the code. So we're gonna, let me first of all demonstrate the code. Okay, so here's the code. Search for it, so pop it out. So here's the code, here's the documentation. Xah is object equal, return true if every enumerable property keys and values are equal. Symbol keys are ignored. Nested objects are compared in the same way. Okay, so the object can be array or data object, and they can be nested, and only enumerable property keys are compared. Okay, and their value must be equal. Order of properties does not matter. Okay, so excuse me, hold on a second. I need to blow my nose. So here is a here is the code. Okay, so here's the code. Not too long. It's only it's only, let's see, copy, new, paste, 20 lines of code. Okay, 20 lines. Fantastic, supreme functional programming. This is recursive function. Okay, this function calls itself, and it is the most efficient function for this purpose out there. You can go out and look at the npm. There's lots of libraries, the popular frameworks that has this kind of similar feature, and I would say mine is the most correct and the fastest as well, the most, so they say, performant. Okay, you can test it, go out. But actually, there's one thing we need to modify. Okay, there is because I was looking at the code, I noticed there's one thing we need to modify to improve the speed, because here you can see they get the keys object if they are objects. Okay, if they are array, if their reference is the same, then you just return true, by the triple equal, because they are exactly the same array, because they have the same array address. Okay, but otherwise, if they are not object, both of them are not object, AA and BB. So that's the argument. Okay, if they are not object, then you compare them as array by nest. You compare each element, you nest into, then you call it self. Okay, those, if they are, both of them are true arrays. Okay, because in JavaScript you got this array like shit, very complicated shit. So if one of them is not array, then you have to compare them as object. So when you compare them as object, you got several issues. You got keys, whether they are enumerable or not. You also got the issue of symbol keys, because remember, an object in JavaScript is a collection of key and value pairs. Each key and value is called a property. Okay, am I too loud here? So, collection of key and value pairs. That's a definition of object in JavaScript. And each key and value pair is called a property. Okay, and they are identified by the key's name. Okay, and the key can be two types, like a value type. So the key must be a string or a symbol type. I'm coughing a bit, so I'm, so anyway, key must be string or symbol type. Okay, and also a key, a property, can be enumerable. There's an attribute. So you got key and value, that's called property. Key can be a string type or a symbol type. The symbol type is new 10 years ago in 2015. Okay, the value of a property can be any type. Can be string, can be number, can be a function, can be whatever. Okay, so key value pairs. Each key value is called property. Okay, now for each property, you can have attributes. So one of the attribute is enumerable Boolean attribute, whether that that property is considered enumerable. Then you got two others. Okay, like getter and setter. Anyway, that's very complicated, and it's like so complicated. JavaScript is a crap. Okay, you don't need them. I mean, the reason they have them, because they don't have true arrays. So they are trying to make it easier, but they got fucked up, because the whole thing is written and designed in 10 days, JavaScript, in 1995. So you got like tons of problems. Okay, so anyway, now remember, object by definition is a collection of key value pairs. Well, actually, there's more than that. By the spec, it says key value pairs, but in reality, in practice, actually, each object may have special behaviors, such as function, date and time object, regular expression object, you know, the reflect object, you know, like the specialized objects. But anyway, object is key value pairs, and they are each key value pairs is called a property, and a property can be enumerable, have several attributes, and one of them is enumerable. So anyway, so you started to, so I'm talking about there's an inefficiency here. I shouldn't sort there. I should sort it later, okay? But actually we can fix it. But before we do, let's just run it, test it, okay? Compare array, compare object, compare, then compare this. So this is object, this is pure array, nested array, this is nested object, and here is nested array and object, or array and array, or object and array, you know, nested any of object and array, and here is primitives. Let's just run them all. So they return nothing, because that means it's success, because this console log, this console assert function, that's a function I just learned today. Actually, I never used it, but it's pretty old, I think. Console assert that basically return, if it returns true, it does nothing. It only prints, just like console log, when the value is not true. So it's just like console log, except when the value is true, it doesn't do anything. Okay, so all these are true, prints nothing. That means my test function is successful. But I needed to add some more, so let me show you some more. Okay, so compare, let's say compare array. So let's add a new condition array with undefined and null values. Okay, so let's say 3 null and here 3 undefined. Okay, let's see if they are yes or no, same or not. Assertion failed. Okay, so there you got assertion. Well, of course, because they are not equal. Okay, they are not supposed to equal. Okay, so that's successful. So this should be equals to false. Okay, now run it. Perfect. So this means my function is working correctly. Okay, unlike possibly some, like if you use string, if you use JSON, so let me show you the JSON thing. Okay, so if you want to compare to object, you can use JSON. JSON.stringify. Okay, there it is. So you want JSON.stringify that. Is it equals to JSON.stringify of that? Okay, now you can run this. Let's just run it locally. No output. Okay, let's see. Let's try again. No output. Okay, so that means it's successful. This assert. Yeah, I'm not sure I like assert. You know, I just started to use it. Because when you have log, that actually makes sense because it prints it. So it's like, it's more intuitive. You know, like because assert is rather more rarely used. Hello, are you guys here? Say hi, okay? Say hi, guys. Andrian and Isaac and Tran. What are you doing? You missed things. We coding advanced JavaScript in depth. Okay. So let's change the assert back to log. So I don't want assert, because assert is less well-known thing. When you have like console log is universal. So you see, now it returned all true. Okay. So we tested special case. So this is an example of using JSON to compare string. Okay. And in this case, this returns true. Okay, let me run it. You see, true, which is incorrect. You see, because one array is got a null, the other arrays got a undefined. Null and undefined are not the same thing. Okay, so this is a failure. This is an example of a failure when you use JSON.stringify. Okay, so anyway, so let's we want to test some more things. Okay, so let's make another test case. Compare object with key in different. Okay, let's just say that two. Okay, so we need to. Okay, so let's see if that works or not. Okay, so you don't want the extra comma. It's very annoying that you see I have a script that auto format. For example, let me show you. The pink window shows all my command calls and the function names. Okay, so do you know what I'm doing now? Trainer. Okay, Astorize. Hello from dev room. Hello there, kangaroo. So let's make it one line. Okay, now press the key, format it. Okay, it's still formatted into one line, but if the line is too long, it will not. Okay, so let's see. So anyway, so let's see. For example, let's say else make it one line. This make it one line. Let's make it the whole thing one line. Okay, now press the key. You see it formats, and that command is describe key. That command is Xah JS format buffer. Okay, go to the source code. You can go to the source code, go there. Xah JS format buffer, and it actually calls Deno. Okay, Deno. Highlight it. It calls Deno. Okay. So, but I don't have to go to shell. Like for example, go to shell. Then Deno fmt, was it just fmt, then file name, then completion to get the file name. Too much problem. I don't want that. Okay, I just want whatever the file I'm in. For example, let's make this long line. Okay, I mean long space in front. Okay, now press the key. You see my cursor can be anywhere. Press the key. You see, I can actually. So let's try this. Make a backup first. Okay, so the whole thing, make it one line and run it. It will still run fantastic and beautiful. Can you see the power of this functional programming style? Most industrial coders, they don't know this. Okay, those people at Google or GitHub, or they create the frameworks and the sparkling frameworks and this or that, React, but they don't know this coding style. Likely they never seen it. Okay, so now you see one single line, run the code, it still works, but now press the key to format it, everything nice automatically, one key press. Okay, now expand the window so you can see. So you see, now run the code, still works. That's the beauty of the automatic formatting. This is done by Deno. Okay, Deno, I highly recommend it. Okay, Deno. Don't use Node.js. That's because it got corrupted by this Isaac, like fuckhead. I believe he's, in my opinion, only. Okay, by the npm, whatever he did with it. So I recommend Deno. Highly recommend Deno. If you're gonna do web dev, use Deno. Okay, don't use Node.js. And also, okay, so Deno and what else? So this superb code. Okay, now put it back. You can see now showing browser. Now this is not syntax colored. Go back to Emacs. Error, because every time I show in browser, it will try to validate. You cannot right now because you got this greater equal, greater than sign. So, but now press a key to syntax color all the code in this page and show in browser. And now you can see it says HTML valid. And in the browser, you can see colorful, beautiful code. One line functional programming, the power of functional programming. Okay, it's the pure function. It's no imperative, for loop and C++ bit diddling thing and bit diddling hack. Let's use bit end, so we can save 1 microsecond and nobody can understand your code. The C++ fuckheads. Okay, I despise them. So anyway, functional programming and test cases. Okay, we are not done. So actually, I need to move on because I got actually things to do. Because I can talk for hours. I can talk and tell you things about JavaScript for hours, but I'm not doing anything for myself. I need to actually. So what I want to do is actually write a benchmark. So what we want to do is write a new version of the object comparison equality test function, but make it based on the JSON.stringify. Okay, we showed before. Make it based on stringify. We need to fix part of it and write a benchmark to see which one is faster. Okay, let's quickly do that. But there's one more thing we need to check. Okay. So compare object. Okay, this is like nested and readable. See, now it's better. Okay. Now I was saying Deno before they add this extraneous comma at the end. Finally, they fix that because, for example, here, the reason they, you see, here is a function call. Okay, that's a function call. But the thing, the thing with the console log is that you can have 3, 4, 5. Any function call you can have an ending comma in JavaScript. Okay, that is by that's the syntax. That's valid. And some people beginning with late millennium, they think this is a better syntax. Programming language should allow you to have a trailing comma because that way it's easier to add a new item whenever you can add a new item. But it's less logical because then because this is not English, this is not traditional writing systems. You don't have a ending comma that goes nowhere. But however, anyway, in JavaScript this is valid, and with the Deno format, they automatically add this thing. Like whenever you have a function call, let's say my function, okay, my fun something. So when you call Deno format, then boom, they add a comma at the end of the argument. Like what the fuck is that? So that is why you see this comma here, because I was using Deno before. So now if you remove it and, for example, let me make it one line, okay? So, yeah, wait, did we, remove that, okay, and make it one line. Yeah, okay, now format the whole buffer to it. It doesn't add the extraneous comma again, okay? So there's another one, remove it, okay? So wait, so we need to do this quickly. So what is compare object, compare array with undefined and null, okay? Then what we want to do is compare object, yes, and compare object with key in different order. That's right. So A1, B2, B2, A1, that should return true still. Run it. Okay, fantastic. It's all true. Yes. Okay. So put it back. Syntax showing browser. Okay. Now, is there anything we're missing? So far, so good, everyone? How old are you, sir? I'm 50 something, pushing 60. Sir, I'm about to die, sir. Well, a few more, maybe 10 more years, actually. Maybe. What if you have 2 ending commas? That's a good question. 2 ending commas, that's illegal. You got syntax error. So let me, so actually, so let me show you that, okay? So you go to JavaScript in depth. That's my tutorial. There are 600 pages, JavaScript in depth. The most concise the most accurate, correct, and the most easy to understand JavaScript, and the most in-depth in the world on earth in English language. Okay, you can check it out. Okay, so here you go to the comma. Okay, so the trailing comma object. So there are several issues. There's a trailing comma in object literal expression, which is here: basics, value types, variable, strings. Then you got properties. Then you got object and inheritance. Object overview. Go there and go down. Then you got object type. Where is it? Object overview. Object type. You wanna go to the object literal expression. Okay. So where is it? Create object. Okay, go create object, then object literal expression. That means the literal, the syntax you use to create object. Okay, so in object literal expression, you have the issue of ending comma. You see, trailing comma is ignored. That's no problem. But however, if you have repeated trailing comma, that's a syntax error. Okay, so for example, you can run this. For example, let's open that page, search pre that trailing comma, repeat trailing comma. Okay, pop it out, run it. You see error. The module source code could not be parsed. Expected something. Okay, because you got 2 comma, but 1 is fine. Okay, so let's try it. Remove it. Run it. Wait, run it. What? Wait. 1 comma. Save it. Run. What? Wait, so this is what's going on? Trailing comma is ignored, so why is it what's going on? Run it. 1 comma should be fine, but why are we? Oh wait, is it trying to cache? Fuck, I got fucked somewhere. Wait, close that. Okay, now run this. What? This is what? Wait, something is going on. What? It's not. So it's using the latest code, but it's not. What? Have I gone crazy? What's going on here? Oh, that's right. Oh God, another problem. You see, here's another word of JavaScript. You see, when you have that, that's an object literal expression syntax, right? Oh, not here. You must have like, you must in the proper context. Okay. So here, this thing is a object literal expression. Okay. Not here. Because over there, JavaScript is thinking that you are writing a block, like constant, constant equals to 3, print x plus 2. So when you have this thing without any, without a variable in front or whatever, JavaScript is thinking you are doing a, a block expression. That is why. So that is why when you run the code, it says error. The module source code could not be parsed. So, but you do this, then remove that. This, okay. Now run it. Fantastic and beautiful. You see. So now we can demonstrate the comma. Okay. So 1 single comma, put it there. Okay. Now run it. No problem. Add another comma. Run it. Problem. Okay. So that is what we're gonna demonstrate. So put it back and let me fix the code here because I need to fix code. So this part, one single comma, you need to constant. Okay, so that way people can actually kind of see. Perfect. Okay, now put it back. Now this part, 2 comma is an error. That's right. Okay, so put it back. Syntax correct. Showing browser. Okay, so we got so it's a bad design. Okay, so if you have one trailing comma, it's okay, but if you got two, you got a problem. Also, you can't have 2 comma in the middle neither. Okay, so okay, we need to fix that part too. So so we are like going all over. We are not so is it entertaining, is it informative, or is it entertaining, is it something? Let me know. Okay, so let's run this this won't work because you got 2 commas there. So we need let's say cannot have repeated comma. Okay, run it. So we got problems. Okay, put it back now. Syntax correct, showing browser. Fantastic. Okay, so this is about object literal expression. Now, but you got the trailing comma issue or repeated comma issue, but the same thing applies. The same thing applies when you have array syntax. Okay, so do I have did I explain somewhere array repeated comma? I might have somewhere. Okay, you got exactly the same situation in array and in function call. Okay, so when you go down, function call. So where's the function? Array function overview, arrow function constructor. So and also keyword function. And function call. So you also got these issues whether you have one trailing comma or repeated comma. In general, repeated comma in all these 3 cases, repeated comma is not good, is error. Okay, but trailing comma is good. So we were saying that Deno used to, like at least a year ago, they automatically add a trailing comma at the end of function call. Very bad. And this trailing comma idea began with a late millennium, I believe, like 2010. Like people started to think, trailing comma is a good thing. We should have it, in style guides, and people started to have that opinion. So I think the late millennium, people became more idiotic. Lots of problems. So anyway, we digressed. We haven't got to talk about actual writing a we wanted to write a right we wanted to write. Okay, so where are we? Showing browser. Go back, close that. Showing browser. We wanted to write a function. Basically, we want to write a benchmark. Okay, let's just benchmark of this function versus JSON to string. Okay, let's just write a benchmark and that's it. Let's forget about any other extra details. Okay, so let's see what are you guys saying. Maybe that's why the correct way is to not have the trailing comma if you by mistake have 2 in the code dice. Yes, but you see, the reason they think trailing comma is convenient is great because like it does make sense sometimes, like because like when you want to add more item in an array or in a object, when you have trailing comma, it's easy. But then if you have double trailing comma, it's error. I'm not sure that makes sense. Either you allow. Yeah, so I actually I have to think about this. Like maybe you should either allow both. if you allow the trailing comma, then you should allow repeated comma, which should, assume then just to be one single comma, maybe. I have to think of. So this is about syntax design. Okay. So, for example, in Wolfram language and all earlier languages, they don't allow that. They don't allow a trailing comma. But I think in later languages, they allow that. Actually, that's interesting. Let's ask Guac. Okay, can we ask Guac which programming language has trailing comma in list? Okay, so let's ask Guac a new question. Which program allow trailing comma in list or array items? Okay, so let's just say that the AI will understand. AI doesn't care about your grammatical errors, your incorrect English. AI understand. So let's magnify, control. It's a big font. Okay, so how long have we been talking? So wait, what are we doing? Oh, God. I'm thinking maybe I should go 40 minutes. Okay, we've been talking for 40 minutes. So what is Squawk's answer? Here are the major programming languages that allow trailing commas in array list literals and often in other comma-separated constructs like object parameters. Yes. Okay, of course, JavaScript and TypeScript that began it, and Python, fucking idiotic Python, indeed. Okay, so Rust. So what is it? Training comma, object and dictionary. Okay, so array and list. Okay, Rust allow it. Okay, Rust is new. Golang also allow it. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, yeah, you see, they all allow it. Okay, I didn't know, but it began with Java. So it began with Java, I guess. You see, do they have C and C++? No, you see. Yeah, so I was correct. Not in C, C++, but basically began with Java. Well, Java began in 1994, 1995. Ruby began in 1987. Like Ruby and Python, and they began all about the same year. Python in 1987 or 88, Python and Perl. But Ruby is a bit later, like 2 years later, so 1989 something. So it's interesting that who is the first who began it? That would be Python and Ruby. You see, the problem with Python and Ruby as the originator is that they are not popular until after year 2000s. Like nobody know what the fuck is Python, but people do know what the fuck is Java. Like since 1995. So in a sense, Java began, and then C++ pushed it. Okay. Well, there it is, Perl. Okay. So Perl. So there is the answer. Perl kind of started. Perl and Java, I think. Interesting question. Okay. So anyway, we digressed so much. We haven't. I wanted to write a function I want to write a benchmark. So you see, why is this interesting? What we're gonna do is that, you can use. So let me show you articles. I already have these, 10,000 articles written about this. You see, test object equality by JSON string. You cannot do that. You got order problem. You got because the key, if they are ordered in different way, otherwise exactly the same, you still won't get true. Because the order, when you JSON.stringify, the order matters. Okay, so but you can fix it by first of all by first kind of reorder the object, like well, actually, for the object case, it's difficult to write the equality using JSON.stringify. Okay, but however, for the array case, if you want to test the equality of two arrays, two nested arrays by their content, it is then possible to use JSON.stringify to do it. Okay, but there are some issues you need to pay attention to. One is undefined versus null, because in JSON there is no such thing as undefined. There's just null. Okay, or was it the other value? But anyway, so it doesn't matter. It's when you have undefined and null, both of them become null in JSON. Okay, so but however in JavaScript these two are different values. So this is one thing you need to pay attention to. So if you're gonna write a array equality test, you have to check if so can you so the question is can you actually try to use stringify but still fix this problem, because that would be difficult actually, because you have to know each element. Then you have to dive into the array, nested array, to actually know if there's an element that's undefined or null. You have to. But if you want to do that, then you don't need stringify anymore, because you just directly compare the array element values, right? So it doesn't save you anything to use stringify. So that's, you see, that was what I was thinking about doing, because otherwise, let me show you. Okay, so beside these few issues, stringify is rather, it works for array. Okay, for pure array, I mean true array, like array dot is array return true, not for array like shit. Okay, so you got undefined versus null. Then you also got sparse array issue. For example, these two arrays, one is got repeated comma. That's actually in array that's valid. Okay, but you got you will end up creating a so-called sparse array, which is different from array of having a value of undefined. Okay, so this AA and BB, these two array are actually different. They behave completely differently. Like when you map a function to the array, the map will skip those missing indexes. So they are completely different things, these two. Okay, but if you say, you see, because if you get the key, they say they are not the same, false. But if you turn them into JSON, they become equal, because when you have like a sparse array, JSON will automatically turn all missing indexes to have a value of undefined. So they become the same. Okay, so this is an issue. So, but when you actually, so in JavaScript, when you want to compare two arrays and one is sparse, do you want to consider these two equal? No, right? Because when you have a sparse array, it's very problematic. Okay, it's very problematic. So you don't want this to return true. Okay, so that's another thing you need to fix. So how can we fix this? I mean, and still use JSON.stringify. So you need to detect sparse array, which means you need to detect missing keys. So you need to get the length of the array, and you need to check it has keys starting from 0 to length -1. All keys exist. Otherwise, you got a sparse array. Okay. By the way, all this I'm talking about is explained in my tutorial. Like for example, array overview. Then you got you got a full page on sparse array like object, and so on, and how to convert them and how to fix them, things like that. Okay, so let's go back. So let's go back. So we were talking about test array equality by comparison as JSON string. Okay, so sparse array. So you need to, so if you want to use stringify to as implement the array comparison, how can you do it? You have to first of all write a function to check for sparse array, and that would be too much work. Because again, if you're gonna do that, you might as well compare the elements. You don't need stringify because stringify is just super convenient. And you see, the reason we might want to implement array equality function using stringify because it's implemented built-in functions. That means it's implemented in C, very low level language, and guaranteed to be correct. Otherwise, because millions of people using it. So the stringify is fully specified and guaranteed to be correct according to the specification. And it is the fastest possible. Okay. No function you can write that's do stringify faster than the built-in. That's the nature in almost all languages, in Emacs, Lisp, in whatever language. Okay. You want to use the built-in function as much as possible. So that's why we might want to write a array comparison function and using the stringify, because that will make it very fast. But then so we got these issues. I'm not sure we can actually solve it. Okay, so other than these two issues, everything works out. Okay, so array can be nested. It will also work out. Test equality of nested array by converting to JSON. JSON cannot be used to test equality of object, right? So if your array contains an element that is an object, then you are fucked. Okay, when you have object, JSON stringify cannot do it. Okay, and when you have array like object, that's also you also no good. Okay, because array like object are not array; they are objects. So it's the same situation with objects. Okay, so in the summary so far, I think you simply you cannot use JSON stringify. Okay, I mean you can if your array doesn't contain undefined and null, and if it's not sparse array, and it doesn't contain objects or array like objects, then JSON works. Okay, but then there's another issue. Okay, so even if it works, but let's say if you have an array of, let's say, 100,000 items. Hello, Hank, thank you. Did you see the new jQuery version came out? jQuery is no good, man. jQuery is good like 15 years ago. 15 years ago, before 2015. I mean, it's useful like in 2005, okay, 20 years ago, 2005 to 2015. So 10 years ago, it's still useful, very useful. In fact, it's not just useful, it's necessary. jQuery is not just useful, it's like absolutely necessary if you want to do any web dev. jQuery, okay? It's written by a late Malayan Jen, who is pushing for, kind of pushing for the social justice warriors. Okay. Hello, Go J. So jQuery is extremely useful and necessary 10 years ago. But since 2015, JavaScript has a big change, basically jQuery, because JavaScript went through the modernization along with not Node.js, they became actually a revolution in computing industry. So you started to have the idea of the async functions, which before Node.js around 2009, it almost doesn't exist in other programming languages. Like nobody thought of. I'm pretty sure it exists, but the average, the mainstream, nobody, it's not a common idea to think about to have a function that does async, then do promise and wait or whatever. People don't do that. But beginning in 2000, since Node.js in 2009, 2008, that became a thing. And to this day, I'm not sure. I don't fully understand it. Okay, so I don't understand. I'm not sure whether it's justified. Like, why is it we don't have async functions in most other languages before? I mean, so it's a bit complicated issue because it has to do with concurrency programming and parallel programming, which are different. So it has to do with those, but not exactly. Okay, it's like somewhere there with to do with concurrency, but not exactly, because async in JavaScript is still serial. It's not parallel. It's not concurrent at all. It just delayed. It's just like a loop check. Okay, so anyway, so it's very complex. So in summary, starting in Node.js 2009, JavaScript introduced the like async idea kind of to the programming industry, and JavaScript started a revolution kind of, and also you started to have server-side JavaScript. So the web dev industry is going through lots of change. And also remember, Internet Explorer, people are trying to kick it out. It's very hard. There's still there's still 6% using it, which is not compatible with all your JavaScript code. So but eventually, so 2015, eventually, so we have a new JavaScript version, and JavaScript used on servers, and Internet Explorer finally went away. So there's a lot of change. So so jQuery, by 2015, starting in 2015, it's basically useless. Okay, it's like useless. The only people who still use jQuery are those people who don't know how to code. Like they don't know. They just follow. I need a job. I heard working as a programmer can make a lot of money. So this jQuery, you just do this, and that's basically the only. There are two kind of people still using jQuery. One is the new, like people who don't know how to code at all. They still use jQuery, and the other is like backward, is like legacy code. There's already 1 million, more than 1 million lines on the web that's using jQuery, and you don't have you are not going to hire programmers to rewrite them. So it's just there. It's gonna stay there forever, like forever. So that's so you got new programmers. I mean, you gradually remove them, or you like usually they just stays. Okay, this legacy code, they just stay until there's you no longer use the software. The company died or whatever. So that's the only reason jQuery is still around. Basically, Okay, so we went through all of us the stuff. I think that's it. We didn't write a benchmark. So you see, we were going to write a benchmark. So far I explained, all the details about, JSON and test, array equality code, test equality of array and object by content. We talked about using JSON to do it. And we were talking about benchmark. So what is it about benchmark? So if you don't know, you go to JavaScript. At the bottom, there's a benchmark. So you can in Deno, you can do benchmark. So it allows you to test, many different, to compare different constructs or implementations of functions in JavaScript. Very useful. So this will bring up, this will show you lots of like issues you might be wondering. For example, we did some others before. Speed comparison of generating array. There are many ways to do it. You can use a for loop. You can use a, like while loop. Here is a while loop of generating a array. Okay, so you want, I believe you want a range function. Yeah, you want an array with values from 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. Okay, so you can use a while loop, you can use a for loop, or you can use a functional programming style. You see this one, very supreme functional programming. You don't have local variables. So which one is faster? You can compare. Do it 10,000 times. It came out result. For loop is the fastest. Okay. There's nothing you can do about it. For loop, well, if you do it 10,000 times, then it's it's 50 microsecond faster. Okay, so even if you use push, so can you see the result? Yeah, you can now. If you use direct assign for loop or while loop, that's 9 microsecond. If you use push to generate array, you got 40 microsecond. If you use array fill, purely functional programming way, you got 60 microseconds. So the difference is compared to for loop is 50 microseconds. Okay, that's 10,000ths of a second. But what happens if you use jQuery? If you use jQuery, it's gonna be more than 100 times slow. Your entire thing is 100 times slow. So I think that's it. Okay, so let me answer a few more questions. You've called LispCon's logic garbage compared to Mathematica. That's correct. But still use Emacs. Is Wolfram perfect syntax irrelevant if its proprietary license kills the open economy? Well, the reason I don't use Wolfram language for everything is because it's not suitable. Okay, it has nothing to do with open source. First of all, in Emacs, why am I using Emacs Lisp? Because Emacs Lisp is for the editor. I need to process text. For example, I can press a key. Wait. For example, let's scroll down. Okay, so you see this is syntax color JavaScript code. Press. Now they become, they remove the syntax tags. You see, now I can press, pop it out. Now it's in a dedicated buffer with JavaScript, and I can press, I can run the code, and I can expand the window. You can see all my command calls in the ping window. It's all commands written by myself. Okay, in Emacs Lisp. What do you think? Emacs Lisp. Okay, so for example, Xah HTML toggle syntax color tags, Xah flag, Xah HTML pop out source code. You see, that's what I'm doing. So now press. You can see Xah pop back source code. Now press. Now you can see Xah HTML re-HTMLize pre-code buffer. Okay, now press. That's Xah HTML open in browser. You see, I can do all this. Where's the code? Well, let's show the code. Press. Okay, wait. Okay, describe key. Press. Okay, so this you are calling Xah HTML re-HTMLize pre-code buffer. The source code is here as well as all the other source code. 1,000 lines. Actually, this file is 3,000 lines of code, but that's not the only one. You got so altogether it's almost 9,000 files, 9,000 lines of code in this HTML, Xah HTML mode. Okay, you see all these commands. You see, where's the code? Here's the code. What is the source code? This is Emacs Lisp. Can you do this in Wolfram language? Actually, you can, because but nobody do it because. So anyway, the reason I don't use Wolfram language, first of all, you can't. It's not suitable. Okay, it's a different thing. It's not suitable. Now in Wolfram language, you can actually just program it just like Emacs Lisp. Okay, I talked about this before, but first of all, evaluate it. you can program it just like Emacs. You can manipulate, because anyway, that's another topic. Okay, I talked about, watch my old videos. I'm pretty sure. I think most people. I don't think you are interested. You are just asking because you want things to be free. That's why. That's your question. That's the heart of your question. Because Wolfram language, you have to pay. You don't want to pay. You really like can it be like open source, so I don't have to pay? Of course, you don't say you don't say that you don't want to pay. You say in terms of like open source. I want the share. But actually, what you really want is that you don't want to pay. Okay, that's why you are asking. How come you are not using Wolfram? Basically that's the fundamental source of the question. So I'm not using it here, or in JavaScript in browser, because, well, you cannot use, JavaScript is the language for the browser. You can use Wolfram language, so you can also, compile to JavaScript or WebAssembly. You can also do that with F# or Julia or some other languages. Yeah, but that's not the core. That's why. Okay, I think that's kind of your question. So I think that's it. What other questions? So nothing beats for 4+ IFS. Yeah, for and if. Yeah, they the imperative code. It's true that they are the most. If they are the fastest. If you are really concerned about that. So this question, so you are called Lisp cons, very silly question, because Lisp. So if you are, because I'm in Emacs Lisp, I code, I do these things. That's why I use Emacs Lisp. Can I have Wolfram language in Emacs? No, Emacs is not using Wolfram language. Just like Vim is not using Emacs Lisp. If you use Vim or NeoVim, can you why are you not using Emacs Lisp to code nim or v or nim? Or if you are using VS Code, open this file in VS Code. Okay, why are you not using Emacs Lisp to code VS Code? VS Code is written in JavaScript. Okay, why are they, all these people, millions of, like literally 10 million of VS Code developers? Why are they not using Emacs Lisp? Because it's not part of VS Code. It's VS Code is written in Electron in JavaScript. That is why. So why are you not using JavaScript to develop Wolfram Notebook? Wolfram Notebook. Because Wolfram Notebook is not written in JavaScript or Lisp. Wolfram Notebook is written in Wolfram language. Okay, now you mention it. Let me. I need to run some code to demo Wolfram language. Okay, so in fact, I have so many Wolfram language tutorials, and let's go to there. So Wolfram language, go there. Let's just repeat one of the, okay, so programming language tutorials. There is Wolfram language. Let's just copy this code. Okay, I want to run something 3D. So here's a code we demonstrated, we coded live about in 2023. So that's 2 years ago. So copy the code. You see how concise it is. Paste it. Paste it wrong. Select all. Delete. Delete. Okay. Paste it. Okay. Here's the code. Let's magnify. Okay. Now Shift Enter to run it. There it is. Okay. This can do computation, can do mathematics, can do number theory, can do differential equations, can do differential geometry, can do black holes physics, can solve all these equations, can do neural networks, can do machine learning, one single function. like one single function, you can do chat GPT and so on. Okay, and you can typeset, like press Control Shift N to typeset it. Okay, so this is Wolfram language. You can format it on the fly as you type. Okay, you can see even if you have complicated math expressions like fractions or nested fractions, it will format it in a great logical way on the fly. You don't have to manually insert tab and return. Like tab, like Python idiots, Python and F# idiots, this you Zoomer idiots. Okay, so you have to pay. So why am I not, why is Wolfram, why am I not using JavaScript or Emacs Lisp or Lisp to code Wolfram language? Because it's not written in those languages. Okay, that's it. Bye, guys. Did we complete everything? Well, basically, yes, we kind of covered the topic we want to talk about. So showing browser, yes, close. Okay, so use Xah HTML mode, close. Emacs Lisp code, okay? Different purpose, different place in different places. Here you are looking at extreme functional programming of Emacs Lisp. Okay, extreme functional programming. And here we are looking at the most extreme, terse, supreme functional programming in Wolfram language. And in fact, more advanced than Haskell or F#. Okay, here, my code. This subject is called inversion. Okay, inversion, three-dimensional geometry, inversive geometry. Okay, beautiful. And in fact, we need to change something so that when you rotate it, it doesn't, so it like has a fixed center. It doesn't shrink or enlarge. And you can actually, let's see, control. Oh yeah, so control. So now you need to use a mouse. It's easier if you use a mouse. Control that, you see. Can you see a circle? Can you see kind of like a sphere inside it? Sublime. This is sublime. Can you do this in JavaScript? Actually, you can. Yeah, it would be interesting to code this in JavaScript. To code this in JavaScript, you have two options. One is just using, well, you can use SVG. Then that's no good because SVG is just two-dimensional. So if you want to code this in JavaScript, you're gonna write a lot of code. If you want to do SVG. So I have a tutorial on that, SVG clocks, okay? So you click on that live clock. So another way is using a 3D.js, which still create SVG, or use the WebGL, okay? 3D WebGL. So I haven't actually, this is what I really want to learn, but I haven't learned it. Okay, so to code this in JavaScript, you use WebGL, and in fact, I have a demo on my website. Okay, so then here is the TypeScript. I mean, that's the VS Code. Where is my page? Okay, so let's go web. So let's go to CSS. Go down here. Go here. So actually, go here. Go hacker code. Go search. WebGL. Do I have? There it is. So you got this dynamic thing in written WebGL. So I haven't learned how to do it yet. Okay, it went off. So you see. So yeah, you can do this but you see, in Wolfram language, this is like one single line, okay? Or if you count characters, maybe 3 lines. But in WebGL, it's like 300 lines. No, it's more like 1,000, 2,000 lines of code, okay? To do this, wait. If you want to, see, So if you want to be able to like rotate it, you know, here's a challenge, okay, for those of you who think you know stuff. Code this, okay, look up geometric inversion. Actually, so you can code this, okay, code this in WebGL. I would be very interested. And if you showed me, you know, you can go to Xah Discord. You know, I have on my Twitter, I am on Twitter or Xah Discord. You can find it on my website, xahd.info, the address, okay? So if you code this in WebGL, I would be highly respect of your, you know, creation. You know, code this in WebGL. This is geometric inversion of a three-dimensional grid of cubes. Okay, that's it. Simple. Just look up with geometric inversion. We did this live, okay, in one of my YouTube 2 or 3 years ago. Okay, you can look up. So code this in WebGL. I will be very interested to see that. You know, this is one of the things I have to learn, but you got too many things to learn. Okay, bye guys. Bye. That's it. Bye.